Chapter 2954 Spear Tip Turning into Lightning. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. In the second round, Lu Ming was the first to fight again. In this round, Lu Ming's opponent was a youth in a blood-red robe. He was a peak 6th level celestial deity, and the divine energy he controlled was also divine-grade divine energy. This person's strength was even stronger than Sword Dao Wuji and Mo Jui of the Qin Heaven Starfield. Wild Blood Shadow Blade. The blood-robed young man would not admit defeat. However, he had seen the woman with the snake on her arm admit defeat earlier. He did not dare to be careless in the face of Lu Ming. He attacked with a killing move. The saber shadows that filled the sky enveloped Lu Ming, wanting to kill him. However, Lu Ming had directly triggered a fourfold increase in combat power. Boom! The fighting stage shook as the spear radiance shot up into the sky. The blood-red saber shadows that filled the sky instantly fell apart. The blood-robed young man screamed and flew out of the fighting ring while spitting blood. He was defeated in one move. What terrifying battle strength! Many people in the surroundings gasped. Especially the people from Magic City Mountain. They had never seen such a powerful heaven's favorite before, so they were naturally dumbfounded. Even Wu Shui and the others became serious. A third-level celestial deity being able to unleash such battle prowess was truly shocking. He's really powerful. In one of the battle rings, Night Rose licked her rosy lips as a fiery light flashed across her eyes, along with a wisp of greed. After Lu Ming won, he returned to the number 16 Coliseum. The competition continued. The burly youth who was holding the battle blade was called Pei Lin. He was an 8th-level celestial deity and had overpowered a 7th-level celestial deity to obtain victory. The black-robed young man who used the spear was called Su Mu. He had also defeated his opponent and won. Soon after, the Wizard Blood and the Night Rose also won. Not long after, the top 8 were born. However, in order to select the top 10, they were sure of 2 spots, so they had to choose from the 8 people who had just been defeated. Therefore, the 8 people who had been defeated went through another round of competition and finally chose 2 spots for a total of 10 people. This king has said that if you enter the top 10, you will be able to obtain 1 gene of Demon Night Spring. Now I will give it to you. After saying that, the Night Demon Lord waved his hand, and a jade bottle appeared in front of him. The jade bottle was transparent, almost transparent, and one could see what was inside. There was a black liquid in the jade bottle. Many people's eyes burned with passion when they saw the jade bottle. Inside, it contained the Demon Night Spring. It could nurture and strengthen the soul. It was priceless. Of course, no one dared to make a move. The Night Demon Lord waved his hand and 10 jade bottles flew out, flying toward Lu Ming and the other 3. Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed a jade bottle in his hand, putting it away without a sound. All right, the competition will continue. It will still be one-on-one duels. The Night Demon Lord announced, and then began to draw lots. Number 1. Number 6. The Night Demon Lord announced. This time, Lu Ming was not the first to appear. Number 1. Pei Lin. Number 6 was a 7th-level celestial deity expert. The two of them had a huge battle, but Pei Lin's cultivation was higher and he won. Number 16. Number 2. The Night Demon Lord announced. It was Lu Ming's turn. Lu Ming moved and flew up to the main fighting ring. With a flash, a black-robed young man also jumped onto the fighting ring. It's him. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The black-robed young man was the one who used the long spear. His name was Su Mu. You and I both use long spears. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too weak. You are not my opponent. Su Mu was very confident. He indeed had the capital to be confident. His cultivation was at the peak of the 7th-level celestial deity realm, but his combat strength was exceptionally powerful. Even prodigies of the same level as him were not his match. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 3rd-level celestial deity realm. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he could still defeat him. It's too early to say that. We'll only know after the battle. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then I'll fulfill your wish, Lightning Spear Divine Art. Su Mu shouted, and a violent aura burst out from his body. Whoosh! A dazzling spear's gleam turned into a bolt of black lightning and shot toward Lu Ming. It was so fast that it was not slower than lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming made his move. He activated his fourfold combat strength and used the air-piercing move. A ray of spear light pierced towards the other party like a meteor. Ding, ding. The fighting ring was like a shooting star and a black lightning bolt. They collided with each other, creating an ear-piercing boom. Then, a strong wind swept across the fighting ring. The spear's radiance burst out in all directions. The entire fighting ring was filled with colorful spear radiance. Buzz! Before the spear radiance had dissipated, the two figures retreated at the same time. The difference was that Su Mu had only retreated about 100 meters before he stopped, while Lu Ming had retreated a few kilometers. Moreover, the battle platform was large enough, with a radius of 100 miles. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have withdrawn from the battle platform. You want to fight me with this little strength? Get lost. Dang! Su Mu shouted. His body seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Then, black lightning bolts shot toward Lu Ming from the fighting ring. There were a total of 108 black lightning bolts, all of which were formed by Su Mu's spear light. The spear's light transformed into black lightning. How amazing! Lu Ming's heart stirred. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a way of using a gun. The world was full of wonders. And NBSP, it seems like I can only use the ancient god body. Zhao Feng muttered. Lu Ming pondered and then cast the ancient god tactic. An ancient god's roar was heard and Lu Ming transformed into his ancient god body. However, he had only turned into an orange-armored ancient god. The orange-armored ancient god was more than enough to deal with Su Mu. That's the ancient god body. Lu Ming was recognized as soon as he used his ancient god body. And NBSP, this kid has actually cultivated the ancient god body. Wu Shui's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming's ability was stronger than he had imagined. However, he was still confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. It would just take a little more effort. Break the air, break the air. After transforming into the ancient god body, Lu Ming continued to use the sky-breaking move. Rays of spear light burst out and headed towards Su Mu, colliding with the 108 black lightning bolts in the sky. Clang! Clang! Like a needle against an awn, the sound of collision rang out in the fighting ring, and sparks flew in all directions. However, after Lu Ming transformed into an ancient god body, his combat strength soared and he had completely surpassed Su Mu. After each collision, a black lightning bolt would collapse and disappear on the fighting ring. The number of black lightning bolts on the fighting ring was decreasing. 107, 106. The speed at which it was decreasing was shocking. After a while, there was only one black lightning left on the fighting ring. Moon-slaying, die! Lu Ming bellowed as he swung his long spear down. A crescent-shaped spear radiance slashed at the black lightning. Boom! The black lightning exploded, and Su Mu's figure reappeared. His face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood as his body was sent flying. Bang! Lu Ming stomped on the ground and his huge body chased after Su Mu. Chapter 2956 Battle Witch's Blood. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. I admit defeat. Seeing Lu Ming chasing after him, Su Mu roared and quickly admitted defeat. Even his strongest ultimate move had been broken by Lu Ming and he was severely injured. How could he dare to continue fighting? If he continued, he would only be abused. Hearing that Su Mu had admitted defeat, Lu Ming did not continue to pursue him. He had no enmity with Su Mu, so all he had to do was defeat him. Su Mu landed on the fighting stage and cupped his fists. Many thanks. Third-level celestial deity actually has such powerful strength. Admirable. After saying that, Su Mu's figure flashed and he rushed down the fighting stage. Lu Ming had won this battle. This kid's battle strength is truly astonishing. Lu Ming had defeated Su Mu, causing Pei Lin and the rest to look solemn. The duel continued. The people who were going to fight next were all people with high cultivation and shocking strength. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. After leaving the Qin Heaven Star Zone and entering the Chu Heaven Star Zone, it seemed that the geniuses he met all controlled divine-grade divine energy. It was as if divine-grade divine power had become the standard of whether or not one was a heaven's favorite. Sacred-grade divine power was simply not enough. The intense battle went on for 3 days. In the end, Pei Lin, Sorcerer Blood, Night Rose, a bald young man, and Lu Ming made it into the top 5. After that, it was the battle between the top 5. In this battle, Night Devil King announced that Night Rose would not get a bye. It would be a battle between Lu Ming, Pei Lin, Wu Shui, and the bald young man. The others had no objections. The goal of those who had made it this far was to be first. Therefore, it didn't matter who got a bye. The first round, Lu Ming, Pei Lin. The Night Demon Lord announced. Lu Ming and Pei Lin leaped onto the fighting ring. The two of them didn't waste any words and immediately started fighting. Pei Lin's strength was very strong, even stronger than Su Mu. He had reached the 8th level heavenly god realm. This time, Lu Ming had to transform into a green-armored ancient god to defeat Pei Lin. Damn it, how could this kid's strength be so amazing? He didn't even use his full strength when he was fighting Su Mu. Among all the people present, the one who was the most annoyed was the Witch Blood. Previously, he had declared that he would kill Lu Ming. However, he was less and less confident now. Then, the Sorcerer's Blood fought against the bald young man. The battle between the two was very strange. The Sorcerer's Blood emitted a bloody mist that covered the fighting ring. The bald young man seemed to be unable to exert his full strength at all. He could only exert 60 to 70% of his full strength. He was easily defeated by the Sorcerer's Blood. Kid, it's your turn next. After the Witch's Blood defeated the bald young man, it shot Lu Ming a provocative look. It also attacks the soul? Lu Ming muttered, the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Obviously, the way the Witch Blood attacked was very similar to that of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. It could also directly attack the soul. Therefore, his opponent could not exert 100% of his strength. However, Lu Ming was not afraid of such an attack at all because he had the measure formula. With that, the top 3 would be decided. Next, the Night Rose will still have a bye. Lu Ming and the Witch Blood will fight. The winner will be able to challenge the Night Rose. After defeating the Night Rose, he will be the champion of this great battle in Magic City. If he can date my daughter, he will also be able to get 10 pounds of Demon Night Spring. The Night Demon Lord announced. This made many people jealous. 10 caddies of Demon Night Spring, and he could still get a stunner like the Night Rose. It would be strange if he wasn't jealous. Especially some young men, who kept glancing at the sensitive parts of the Night Rose. Their bodies were hot, and some parts of their bodies were already restless. He had no choice. The Night Rose was too tempting. Kid, come. Wu Shui rushed up to the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious look. As you wish. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and leaped onto the fighting ring, appearing to be at ease. Boom! The moment Lu Ming leaped onto the fighting ring, the Sorcerer's Blood was used. Wu Shui's entire body turned as red as blood. Blood-red mist kept spurting out of the pores of his body. Suddenly, the entire fighting ring was shrouded in the blood-red mist. Unable to avoid it, Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood-red mist. The blood-red mist seemed to have a mind of its own as it rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his divine energy. 10 types of divine energy enveloped his body to resist the blood-red mist. Chi. The blood-red mist was very similar to the mist of the woman with the snake wrapped in her arm. Lu Ming used 10 types of divine powers to block it, but he could not block much. Most of the mist rushed into Lu Ming's body and rushed toward his soul in his sea of consciousness. Leave it to me. The sound of the quantity formula rang out, and a devouring power erupted, devouring all the mist. As for Lu Ming, he just stood there, not moving. Junior sister Lien said that this kid is extremely strange. The divine chi seems to be ineffective on him, but I don't believe it. It's not effective at all. Maybe junior sister's cultivation is too low. Continue. Wu Shui roared in his heart and madly circulated his divine power. His divine power was transformed into refined divine qi through a special cultivation technique and gushed out continuously. The mist on the fighting ring became thicker and thicker, until it was almost pitch black. At this moment, Lu Ming's body swayed, as if he could not take it anymore. This brat is finally unable to hold on. The Sorcerer's Blood was overjoyed. He shook his arms, and the 2 large snakes on his arms slithered toward Lu Ming silently. As they neared Lu Ming, the 2 giant snakes suddenly expanded and turned into 2 giant pythons. They pounced at Lu Ming and spat out 2 streams of poisonous gas. Before the poisonous gas arrived, a nauseating smell filled the air. I've been waiting. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and the corners of his lips curled into a cold smile. With a thought, 9 ice chains flew out from his body. A bone-piercing chill filled the air, and layers of ice crystals appeared in the air. The poisonous gas spewed out by the two pythons was also frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 ice chains wrapped around the 2 giant pythons, and the coldness seeped into the bodies of the giant pythons, freezing them. The 2 giant pythons writhed and struggled crazily. Not good. Wu Shui's expression changed drastically. He took a step forward and pounced toward Lu Ming. Roar! At that moment, Lu Ming let out a loud roar and transformed into his ancient god body. However, Lu Ming still held back and only transformed into a green-armored ancient god. Buzz! The long spear vibrated and swept out, sweeping across the bodies of the 2 giant pythons. The 2 giant pythons screamed in pain and their bodies exploded, dying on the spot. Ah, damn it, I want you to die! Wu Shui roared and waved his hands. The mist on the fighting ring rolled up crazily and turned into 2 evil ghosts, which charged at Lu Ming. However, this kind of fog was completely useless against Lu Ming. He ignored the fog and waved his spear at the witch's blood. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's long spear struck out. Blood-red palm. Wu Shui had also used his ultimate move. His body turned even redder, and it seemed as if blood was flowing on the surface of his skin. Chapter 2957 Night Rose. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. However, even though the sorcerer's blood was an 8th-level celestial deity and an existence that could control divine-grade divine power, its attack power mainly came from the blood-colored mist, which was his true trump card. His frontal attack was not very strong. His most powerful trump card was useless, and the strength of his witch blood was even lower than Su Mu's. Bang! Lu Ming's long spear collided with the bloody palm. The bloody palm could only resist for 2 breaths before it exploded. The spear's radiance did not stop and bombarded the body of the sorcerer's blood. Wu Shui let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying backward. He crashed heavily into the fighting ring and slid for hundreds of miles before flying out of the fighting ring. The witch's blood was defeated. To Lu Ming, it was much easier to defeat the sorcerer's blood. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated the witch blood. The next match would be against the Dark Rose. As long as he defeated the Dark Rose, Lu Ming would be able to get first place and even win the beauty. A gust of fragrant wind blew. Night Rose's figure floated and landed in front of Lu Ming. Night Rose was not wearing much. Her skin was as white as jade, not fat or thin, and full of elasticity. In addition to her beautiful face, she was even more alluring. Her eyes were like silk as she swept her gaze across Lu Ming's body, looking very satisfied. However, for some reason, Lu Ming's body tensed up involuntarily when the Dark Rose sized him up like that, as if he was facing a terrifying enemy. What's going on? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body actually reacted instinctively. It was a reaction in the face of danger. The Night Rose gave him a terrible sense of danger. Clearly, Night Rose did not reveal the slightest killing intent. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he did not show it on his face. He cupped his fists and said, "Please enlighten me, young lady." I admit defeat." Just when everyone thought that the 2 of them were going to have a fierce battle, Night Rose's voice was heard. What? Everyone was stunned. Before the battle even started, Night Rose had already admitted defeat. What was going on? Could it be that Night Rose saw Lu Ming's abilities and knew that she was no match for him? That's why she admitted defeat? Someone guessed. I don't think that's right. The abilities that Night Rose displayed previously are simply unfathomable. She might be able to fight with Lu Ming. Why would she admit defeat without fighting? I think that he has taken a fancy to that kid. Hence, he might as well admit defeat without fighting. Someone immediately retorted, causing many people to be stunned. Don't tell me you've really taken a fancy to me? Sigh, it seems that being handsome is also a kind of trouble. Lu Ming was also mumbling in his heart. Ha ha ha. All right. Since Rose has admitted defeat, I shall announce that the champion of this competition is Lu Ming. The Night Demon Lord stood up and announced with a laugh. I'm so envious. Countless people cast envious and jealous gazes at Lu Ming. Humph. Wu Shui snorted coldly. He was extremely displeased. He glared at Lu Ming, his killing intent constantly flashing. And NBSP at this time, the Night Demon King took out another jade bottle. This jade bottle was much larger than the previous one, and it also contained the Demon Night Spring. Lu Ming, this is 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring. It's your reward. With a wave of his hand, Mo Yechuan flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out to take it and kept it in his storage ring. Lu Ming, let me ask you a question. Since you've come in first, are you willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord of Magic City Mountain? The Night Demon Lord asked. I'm willing. Lu Ming did not hesitate and nodded in agreement. You agree? The Night Demon Lord was slightly stunned. He did not expect Lu Ming to agree so readily. Yes, I agree. As Lu Ming spoke, his eyes could not help but sweep towards the Night Rose, as if he was reluctant to leave. So that was how it was. Many people nodded. They were well aware that Lu Ming had agreed without any hesitation because he was smitten by the Night Rose. Indeed, how many men could resist the temptation of a bewitching vixen like the Night Rose? The Night Demon Lord thought the same, and he was overjoyed. Then, the Night Demon King asked the other people in the top 10 if they were willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord. However, all he got was a shake of the head. The Night Demon King was slightly disappointed, but he understood that most of these heaven's favorites were from some major forces. A Demon Lord position was not enough to move them. Unless there was the temptation of the Night Rose. All right, the great battle in Demonic City has ended. Next, I will hold a banquet. Everyone can enjoy to their heart's content. We won't leave until we're drunk. The Night Demon Lord announced. Then the fighting stage was removed, and a large number of beautiful women flew out and began to set up the banquet in the open space. After 3 rounds of wine, the crowd dispersed. Lu Ming, you can move into the City Lord's mansion in the future. The Night Rose walked leisurely to Lu Ming's side. A fragrance assailed Lu Ming's nose. All right. Lu Ming naturally agreed. The purpose of his visit was to investigate the Dark Ice Clan's collusion with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. The Ice Soul Clan's patriarch suspected that Magic Capital Mountain was very likely an informer of a major force in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, who was specifically working with the Dark Ice Clan. Therefore, the best way to find out the truth was to enter the City Lord's mansion. Besides, it was also the best choice to enter the City Lord's mansion since Xueqi and the rest were locked up there. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted, so there was no reason for him to refuse. That night, Lu Ming moved into the City Lord's residence. Many people were envious of him. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Young Master Lu Ming, the young lady would like to see you. On the evening of the 3rd day, a maidservant came to invite Lu Ming. Maidservant, of course, it was Night Rose's maidservant. He's finally looking for me. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. For the past 2 days, the Night Rose did not come to look for Lu Ming. Now they had finally come. For the past 2 days, Lu Ming did not take the initiative to look for the Night Rose because he always felt a sense of danger from the Night Rose. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, Bone Demon wasn't here, or he would have asked for his help. As for the measure formula and the battle formula, although they had lived for countless years, they did not know much. All right, let's go. Since Night Rose had taken the initiative to invite him, Lu Ming had no reason to reject her. He could take the opportunity to gather some information. He followed the servant girl and walked around before arriving at a courtyard. In the courtyard, there was a small bridge with flowing water and the fragrance of flowers. It was very elegant. A pavilion was built on a small river. There were stone tables and stools in the pavilion. Some food and wine were already placed on the table. The sun had already set. In the pavilion, there were a few lit candles. The candlelight flickered and the light was dim. Brother Lu, please. Night Rose stood up to welcome him. Chapter 2958. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Today, Night Rose had changed her clothes and was even more alluring. What happened next was completely beyond Lu Ming's expectations. The Night Rose actually used all means to seduce Lu Ming, as if they wanted to rape him on the spot. Fortunately, Lu Ming was mentally strong and managed to resist the temptation. That was because Lu Ming instinctively felt a deep sense of danger from the Night Rose. This sense of danger caused his mind to tremble. Lu Ming felt that the Night Rose seemed to want to eat him. Therefore, Lu Ming calmed down. Lu Ming, can you not leave tonight? After her actions were ineffective against Lu Ming, Night Rose spoke again. Even a fool could understand what she meant. Any normal man would not be able to resist such temptation. However, Lu Ming had completely calmed down. He felt that the sense of danger coming from the dark rose was getting stronger and stronger. He had a feeling that if he couldn't resist the temptation and really had sex with the night rose, he would probably die. Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly as he thought of a countermeasure. Night Rose's small hands were already moving around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the small hand of the Night Rose. He gritted his teeth and put on an expression as if he was resisting the temptation. Miss Jiangwei, Lu Ming has never experienced such a thing. Moreover, we don't know much about it. It's not very good to do such a thing. What's not good about it? You can slowly understand it in the future. The Night Rose smiled faintly. Her breath was like orchids and a fragrance rushed into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming's heart beat faster. No, there's poison in this fragrance. Lu Ming was greatly shocked. He finally sensed that there was poison in the fragrance. This poison could stimulate the burning desire in one's body. It was no wonder that even with Lu Ming's mental fortitude, he could not remain calm. This Night Rose is indeed up to no good. Could it be that she's cultivating some kind of evil technique that absorbs yang to supplement yin? Lu Ming's mind was racing. He guessed that Night Rose had cultivated some kind of evil art and had taken a fancy to his talent, so she wanted to use this evil art on him. Old Liang, I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. Immediately, the quantity formula emitted an attractive force and absorbed the poison. Lu Ming calmed down completely. Lu Ming circulated his divine power and shook it slightly. He pushed the dark rose away and moved to a stone bench at the side. Miss Rose, I'm a traditional person. Before I fully understand it, I will not have sex with any woman. Please forgive me, Lu Ming said, putting on the look of a gentleman. This fellow. Night Rose secretly gritted her teeth and secretly despised him in her heart. She didn't expect that he would still have such stubborn thoughts. Forcing out a smile, Dark Rose said, Brother Lu, please don't misunderstand me. I was just testing you. Brother Lu, you're indeed a gentleman. I'm impressed. Come on, let's continue drinking. Pa. Lu Ming felt contempt in his heart. Testing? If Lu Ming had not resisted the temptation just now, he would have lost his virginity. Come drink. Naturally, Lu Ming would not show it on his face. He picked up his glass and drank with Dark Rose. Next, it was time to chat. By the way, Miss Rose, I heard that there's a group of demon slaves in Magic City. I wonder where they're being held? Lu Ming asked calmly while drinking. Demon slave? They're all locked up in the Colosseum. After being rejected by Lu Ming, Night Rose seemed to be a little absent-minded. She answered casually and did not think much about it. Animal arena? Beast fighting. Lu Ming's heart was filled with cold-killing intent, but he did not show it on his face. Lu Ming controlled his temper and drank a few more glasses. He then found an excuse to leave. Then I won't be sending you off, Rose, said Night Rose with a smile. No need to send me off, Lu Ming said and then left the place. After watching Lu Ming leave, a ferocious look appeared on Night Rose's face. Her eyes were filled with greed. A third-level celestial deity actually has such terrifying combat strength. It's extremely rare. Furthermore, I can feel an incomparably exuberant life force. I must obtain it. I must obtain it. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape from me. Hee hee hee. The Night Rose let out a sharp laugh, which was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming left the mansion of the Night Rose. He did not return to his room but left the city lord's mansion directly. He asked someone for the location of the animal arena and headed there directly. His heart was burning with anxiety. He didn't know how Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong were doing after so many days. If anything happened to them, Lu Ming would flatten Magic City Mountain. The Colosseum was huge and was not far from the city lord's mansion. It was a huge building. When Lu Ming neared the Colosseum, he heard a deafening roar coming from the Colosseum. Lu Ming walked toward the main entrance of the animal arena. There were guards at the entrance of the Colosseum, blocking Lu Ming. The entrance fee is 1,000 mid-grade god crystals. One of the burly men said coldly. Lu Ming gave him 1,000 mid-grade divine crystals and walked into the Colosseum. As they walked into the Colosseum, the cheers became even more intense, wave after wave. Chapter 2958 Demonic Slave. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. The Colosseum was circular in shape, and there was a huge fighting stage in the middle. There were seats all around the fighting ring. At this moment, 90% of the seats were occupied by people of all kinds. Roar! At this moment, a huge battle was taking place in the middle of the fighting ring. An expert from the Serpent Men race was currently engaged in an intense battle with a desolate beast. The Serpent Men experts were first-level celestial deities, and that desolate beast was also first-level celestial deity. The two of them were at the same cultivation level, and the battle was extremely brutal. However, that desolate beast was clearly more ferocious. It was not afraid of death, and it roared continuously as it pounced towards the Serpent Men expert. The Serpent Men experts were gradually losing and were forced to retreat. Roar! In the end, the desolate beast went crazy. It risked its own injuries and tore the Serpent Men expert into pieces, causing blood to splatter all over the ground. All right. Good kill, it's exciting. At the scene, there was another wave of cheers. Countless people were shouting excitedly. Men, clean up. Immediately, someone came to the fighting ring and cleaned up the corpses of the human-snake hybrid clan and wiped the bloodstains. The injured dire beast was also brought down. Following that, another battle broke out. The target of the battle was a burly human, and on the other side, it was still a desolate beast. It's time to bet. It's time to start betting. Both sides have peak stage 9 true god cultivation. Which side are you betting on? An old man stood in the air above the fighting ring, and his voice spread throughout the entire arena. I think the desolate beast is stronger. I'll bet 10,000 mid-grade divine crystals on the desolate beast. No, I think that human warrior's blood chi is surging and full of killing intent. I think he'll be stronger. I bet 20,000 divine crystals on the human warrior. Many people began to place their bets. However, it was very simple for them to place their bets. Many of them had something like an array card in their hands. They would enter the amount of money they had bet on and who they wanted to bet on. When they left this place, they would calculate the results. The Colosseum was organized by the Night Demon King, and no one dared to renege on their debt. The bets were placed and the battle began. The burly human and the wild beast were engaged in a fierce battle. Both of them were at peak stage 9 true god realm. However, the moment they attacked, the burly human had the upper hand. The human's attack was decisive, and one could tell with a single glance that he was someone who had experienced hundreds of battles. His attack power was very powerful. From the start, he was suppressing the desolate beast. I'm winning, I'm winning. Those who bet on the human race were overjoyed, while those who bet on the wild beast's side. Kill! After fighting the wild beast for dozens of moves, the burly human roared and slashed out, beheading the wild beast. The burly human won. Men, clean up. In the sky above the fighting ring, the old man ordered again. Wait a moment. At this moment, a silver-robed young man stood up from his seat and stepped out in the air. It's Wan Xing. That human is finished. That's right. I think Wan Xing has bet wrongly again. He bet on the desolate beast. Every time he bets wrongly, he will be in a bad mood. Once he is in a bad mood, he will kill someone. Shush. Lower your voice. He's the son of the Devil Lord. Many people started whispering to each other when they saw the young man. They seemed to be very afraid of him. Demon Master was a name for the demon capital. Under the Night Demon King, there were 9 demon masters. Each demon master's cultivation was extremely profound, surpassing the 9th level celestial deity. They were all half-step divine kings. In the heavenly god realm, if one wanted to break through to the god king realm, one must first form a star core. Only when a star core was successfully formed could one be considered a true god king. However, the star core was not something that could be condensed just because one wanted to. There was a transition in the process of condensing the star core. During this process, the star core would not be completely condensed. However, it was also the process of transforming from divine fire to the star core. This was the transition from a heavenly god to a god king. It was the transition to the half-step god king realm. The strength of a half-step divine king was inferior to a true divine king, but it was also a great deal stronger than ordinary 9th level celestial deity. The 9 demon masters under the Dark Knight Demon King were such existences. Wan Xing was the only son of one of the demon masters. In Demonic City, he was naturally a character who could do whatever he wanted. Young Master Wan. The old man in the air saluted. Wan Xing, you made me lose money. You deserve to die. Kill. Kill. Wan Xing shouted coldly and charged at the human. What? The human was shocked. He roared and blocked with all his might. However, Wan Xing's cultivation base was at the first level of the heavenly deity realm. Although the burly human was strong, he was still a long way off from Wan Xing Puchi. Blood splattered in all directions as the burly human was slain by Wan Xing with a single sword strike. After killing the burly human, Wan Xing snorted coldly and returned to his seat. The old man in the air didn't even dare to let out a fart. After all, Wan Xing's father, the lord of all demons, was sitting in the Colosseum. Whoever dared to say anything about Wan Xing would be courting death. Moreover, it was just a mere demonic slave. There were plenty of them, so it was not worth offending Wan Xing. Someone immediately cleaned up the fighting ring. Alright, the next demonic slave to fight is a new one. He's very young and I heard that he's quite strong. Everyone, make your bets. In the air, the old man spoke again. Then, he waved his hand, and the door at the side of the fighting ring opened. Roar! The roar of a wild beast came from one of the doors, and a huge creature walked out. This was a huge bull with the cultivation of Tier 8 True God. A young man stepped out of the other door. Wu Zifeng. At the sight of this figure, Lu Ming's heart trembled. The figure was Wu Zifeng. After not seeing him for a while, Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard. It was obvious that he had suffered a lot during this time. Damn it, are these demon slaves? The killing intent in Lu Ming's heart was extremely strong. At the thought of Xueqi fighting with dire beasts in such an environment for others to watch, Lu Ming could not wait to flatten Magic City Mountain. Let's start the bet. This young man has the cultivation of Stage 7 True God and the desolate beast is at Stage 8 True God. The old man shouted from the sky. Stage 7 True God versus Stage 8 True God? Could this young man be a heaven's favorite? Many people began to discuss how to place their bets. Humph, what a fool. Look at him, he's just a pretty boy. What kind of genius is he? I'll bet on the wild beast. Wan Xing snorted coldly, betting on the desolate beast's victory. Although Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard, he still couldn't hide his handsomeness. On the other hand, Wan Xing looked ordinary. When he looked at Wu Zifeng, he couldn't help but be jealous. This kid is doomed. Many people thought to themselves and shook their heads. Wan Xing had bet on the wild beast's victory. If the wild beast really won, then Wu Zifeng must have died at the hands of the demonic beast. If Wu Zifeng won and caused Wan Xing to lose money, looking at Wan Xing's appearance, he would probably not let Wu Zifeng off. No matter what, Wu Zifeng had to die. Very quickly, the bets were placed and the battle began. Buzz! The giant bull roared and charged at Wu Zifeng. Its huge body shook the fighting ring. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. I want to level Magic City Mountain. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Many people watched nervously, wanting to see how Wu Zifeng, with his cultivation at the 7th stage of True God, would deal with a desolate beast at the 8th stage of True God. Just as the giant bull was about to rush to Wu Zifeng moved. His figure flashed and he dodged the giant bull's attack. Then, a sword light cut through the wind from his hand and slashed at the giant bull. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Puchi! A long wound appeared on the giant cow's body. It went straight through its bones and blood flowed out. Roar! The giant bull screamed, but its bestial nature was also stimulated. It twisted its body and rushed toward Wu Zifeng again. Its two horns glowed and burst out two rays of light as sharp as divine knives. However, a sword radiance burst forth from Wu Zifeng's palm and collided with the giant bull's attack. Bang! Bang! The giant bull's attack was sent flying by Wu Zifeng. He stepped forward and slashed again. The sword was aimed at the giant bull's neck. Blood splattered everywhere. The giant cow's head was directly cut off by Wu Zifeng's sword. Wu Zifeng only used 2 moves to kill the giant bull, which was 1 level higher than him. This result was within Lu Ming's expectations. In fact, with Wu Zifeng's strength, if he used his full strength, he could probably kill the giant bull in 1 move. So powerful. Haha, I won. The scene was in an uproar. Many people who had bet on Wu Zifeng's victory were overjoyed. As for those who bet on the desolate beast winning, they had ugly expressions. The ugliest one was Wan Xing. Today, he had failed to win again and again, so he was in an extremely bad mood. "You're looking for death, die!" Wan Xing shouted angrily. His body burst out of his seat and rushed toward the fighting ring. Young Master Wan, wait a moment." The old man in the air quickly called out. "If you have a fart, then quickly spit it out." Wan Xing impatiently shouted. "Young Master Wan, this man is extremely talented. We can't kill him. He might be useful if we keep him alive," the old man advised. With Wu Zifeng's strength, if he was properly trained, he might become a sharp blade of Magic City Mountain. What can't be killed? I'm telling you, there's no one here that I can't kill. What's a little bit of talent to me? Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll kill you too. Wan Xing coldly shouted. His killing intent was cold. The old man's expression was unsightly, and he helplessly retreated. "Brat, I'll send you on your way." Wan Xing stared at Wu Zifeng with a cold gaze. "If you dare to touch me, I'll definitely destroy Magic City Mountain if I don't die," Wu Zifeng said. He was the Wu family's young master, and yet he had actually fallen into such a situation. He was also holding a breath in his heart. "You still want to destroy my Magic City Mountain? I'll destroy you now." Wan Xing shouted and was about to charge towards Wu Zijin. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Wan Xing and blocked him. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. He originally wanted to wait until he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong before he made his move, but now, he had no choice but to do so. "Kid, who are you? Get lost." Wan Xing was furious when he saw that someone dared to stand in front of him. "Get lost," Lu Ming said coldly. "What?" Wan Xing was stunned, and then he became furious. In this coliseum, there was actually someone who dared to tell him to get lost. He was courting death. Simply courting death. "Little bastard, I'll kill you." Wan Xing bellowed angrily and attacked Lu Ming with his palm. However, Lu Ming waved his hand. "Pah!" A crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire area. Wan Xing was vulnerable in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming easily dispersed his attack and slapped him in the face. Wan Xing spun 81 times in the air. His face was as swollen as a pig's head. He looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded expression. He only reacted after a long while. Wan Xing screamed. "Buzz! Buzz! Buzz!" Instantly, figures flew out from all directions of the arena. There were men and women among these figures. All of them were wearing iron armor and they surrounded Lu Ming. "Brat, you dare to hit young Master Wan? I think you're tired of living. Kneel down and surrender." One of the burly men strode forward and slapped Lu Ming. This person's cultivation was at the 4th level celestial deity realm and he thought that he was more than enough to take down Lu Ming. "Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and Lady Yu? Where are you? Are you all right?" At that moment, Lu Ming was communicating quickly with Wu Zifeng. "They're all fine. They've been locked up in this coliseum. As long as we break through this coliseum, we can save them." Wu Zifeng quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. "Very good." Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold killing intent. "You brought this on yourself, you can't live, kill." Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw a punch. A 9-clawed divine dragon emerged and charged toward the burly man. That 4th level celestial deity burly man didn't even let out a miserable cry before his body exploded, his soul scattering. The others were stunned. "You dare to kill a Magic City guard? How audacious! Let's attack together." There were at least dozens of Shanghai guards in the surroundings. They roared at the same time. Divine power of various colors surged wildly and launched an attack on Lu Ming. The demonic city guards were the guards of the demonic city, and they were much stronger than the general demon guards of the general demon city. Even the weakest of the Magic City guards was at the 3rd level of the celestial deity realm. Dozens of demonic city guards at the 3rd level of heavenly deity realm and above attacked together, causing the weather to change. "Today, I'll raise the beast arena to the ground." Lu Ming let out a long howl and cast the divine dragon materialization art. 6 9-clawed divine dragons roared and pounced at everyone. Each of them was 10,000 meters long. Although these demonic city guards were strong, they were far inferior to Lu Ming. The nine-clawed divine dragon Dharma Laksana pounced and all the attacks aimed at him were instantly destroyed. The nine-clawed divine dragon did not stop, its sharp claws constantly stepping out. Ah! Ah! Miserable shrieks were heard continuously. A magic city guard was torn apart by the nine-clawed divine dragon and died on the spot every second. At this moment, the spectators around the Colosseum were all dumbfounded. They didn't think that someone would actually dare to cause trouble here. Furthermore, he was killing in all directions, even killing so many Shanghai guards. This was a huge matter. I'm afraid that the entire magic city will be in a riot. As for Wan Xing himself, he was so scared that his face turned pale and his body trembled. Every guard here was stronger than him, but they were all killed one after another. Young Master Wan, quickly retreat. The old man who was in charge of the animal arena brought Wan Xing and retreated to the stands. You dare to cause trouble here. You're looking for death. Demonic city guards, move out and kill the invader. The entire Colosseum was alarmed. The doors on all sides of the fighting ring opened, and figures flew out from them. Powerful auras rose up. Shanghai guards. They were all Shanghai guards, and there were more than 500 of them. Among them, some people's auras were extremely robust. They were all existences that surpassed 7th-level celestial deity. The great army of the magic city guards that was guarding the Colosseum had arrived. This was a terrifying force. No one on Magic City Mountain could rival it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2961 Chaos. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Very good. You dare to kill a magic city guard in the animal arena. Today, no one can save you. A cold voice resounded in the air above the Colosseum. Then, a silver light flashed and a middle-aged man in silver robes appeared in the air. Father. When he saw the silver-robed middle-aged man, he was overjoyed. This middle-aged man was one of the 9 great demon masters of the demon capital, Wan Xing's father, Wan Er. Father, quick, kill this brat. No, I want this brat to suffer. Fate worse than death, Wan Xing roared. Don't worry. In my hands, he won't die so easily even if he wants to. Attack and cripple his cultivation first. 10,000 Evil's cold voice sounded. Demon Master, leave this brat to me. A burly man in iron armor asked. Go. Evil nodded. This armored man had a cultivation base of 9th-level celestial deity. It was more than enough to deal with Lu Ming, who was only a 3rd-level celestial deity. Boom. The armored man took a step forward, and a violent aura broke out of his body, as thick as a mountain. Brat, I'll break your right arm first. A long spear appeared in the armored man's hand. It was extremely sharp. As soon as he finished speaking, the armored man rushed toward Lu Ming. He swung his spear at Lu Ming's right hand. Although he was burly, his speed was astonishing. 9th-level heavenly deity? Lu Ming muttered and directly activated the battle character formula, increasing his combat strength by 4 times. The 4-fold increase in combat strength was triggered. Lu Ming's combat strength soared and he kept swinging his fists. And NBSP roar roar roar. The roars of the dragons resounded through the sky as the 6 9-clawed divine dragons pounced toward the armored man. Break! The iron-armored man shouted coldly. His spear vibrated and he instantly launched dozens of attacks at the 6 9-clawed divine dragons. Boom! Boom! The spear struck the 9-clawed divine dragon's claw and burst into a dazzling light. However, the result was not what the armored man had expected. He initially thought he could defeat the 9-clawed divine dragon in an instant, but the truth was that his body was numbed by the impact and he almost fell back. How is that possible? How can this force be so powerful? The armored man was shocked. Roar! At this moment, another dragon's roar was heard. It turned out that Lu Ming had pushed the divine dragon phenomenon art to its limit and had made another breakthrough. He could now condense 7 divine dragon images at once. The 7th divine dragon image then pounced at the armored man. The armored man could not resist it and was pushed back. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Ming cast the ice chain. The 9th and most powerful ice chain flew out and wrapped around the armored man. In the sky, Lu Ming and all evil were still in a stalemate. Boom! Boom! The two of them exchanged a few more moves. In the end, Lu Ming gained the upper hand and defeated All Evil's silver claw in one fell swoop. All Evil's body shook violently and was sent flying. Lu Ming did not give chase. He twisted his body and rushed underground instead. Boom! Lu Ming's spear swept out and hit the ground. The ground burst out with a terrifying roar and collapsed continuously. The vast underground space was completely exposed. Some of the secret rooms crumbled, and some wild beasts rushed out. Roar! Roar! Many desolate beasts with huge bodies howled towards the sky and charged out of the shackles, charging into the sky. Set up the formation. All Evil roared. More than 500 demon city guards set up a great formation in the sky. The formation activated, and countless beams of divine light shot toward the wild beasts. Many of the wild beasts were pierced by the divine light and died on the spot. Brother Wu, where are Xueqi and the others? Take me there. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Wu Zifeng. Follow me. Wu Zifeng shouted and rushed toward a crack in the ground. Lu Ming followed closely behind and flew into the underground space. Originally, the underground space of the Colosseum had been guarded by many magic city guards. However, now that the magic city guards had all gone out, there was no obstruction in the underground space. The underground space was huge and divided into 7 levels. According to Wu Zifeng, they were locked up on the 5th floor. The two of them headed straight for the 5th level. However, wherever Lu Ming passed by, he would make a move and blast open the secret chambers to release the desolate beasts and demonic slaves inside. Chapter 2961 Three Great Demon Kings. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Hahaha, I'm free. I'm going to kill my way out and kill those sons of B** cheese in Shanghai. Many demonic slaves roared. Their eyes were ferocious and their killing intent was cold. Some of the demon slaves here were those who had made mistakes in Magic City Mountain and were sent here to become demon slaves. However, most of the fiend slaves were sneakily captured by Magic City Mountain from the outside. These fiend slaves naturally hated Magic City Mountain to the core. Roar! Many desolate beasts roared angrily, their huge bodies colliding everywhere as they rushed outside. There were also many demonic slaves that charged into other secret chambers, releasing even more demonic slaves and desolate beasts. After that, Lu Ming did not have to do anything. The secret room in the underground space was constantly being opened. Demonic slaves and desolate beasts kept rushing out and killing. However, the Myriad Fiend Lord and the 500 demonic city guards were too powerful. They formed a large formation and shot out beams of divine light, killing a large number of demonic slaves and desolate beasts. However, there were too many demonic slaves and desolate beasts, and there was no lack of powerful existences among them. Evil and the others began to feel some pressure. Quick! Send the signal and ask for help. 1,000 evils roared. Immediately, someone sent out a signal. Beams of light shot up into the sky and could be seen throughout the entire demonic city. Something has happened in the animal arena. It's a rescue signal. Get ready to move. All of a sudden, the entire Shanghai was alarmed. All the Shanghai guards were ready to go. Shanghai guards, assemble. 2 figures walked out of the city lord's mansion. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was an old man. Both of them exuded a terrifying aura. The 2 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 2 of the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital. Buzz! Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! Beams of light flew over from all directions of Shanghai and landed in front of the 2. They were all Shanghai guards in iron armors. Soon, there were about 2,000 Shanghai guards gathered here. You guys, come with us to support the Colosseum and kill all the enemies. A demon master spoke, his voice loud and clear. Kill! All of the guards roared. Then, the 2 demon masters led about 2,000 demonic city guards and charged into the Colosseum. It seems that someone can't help but make the first move. Not far away, a figure flashed and a young figure appeared. This figure was Su Mu. Haha, just as well. We've lured away quite a few of the Shanghai guards. Now, we can also start taking action. Another figure appeared from another direction. It was Pei Lin. Let's just wait for the battle to start, in case these demonic city guards come back. On the other side, two figures appeared. They were Wu Shui and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The one who had just spoken was Wu Shui. That's right. Let's wait. This time, I must get a Demon Master token. Pei Lin muttered, his eyes flashing with killing intent. In the nearby buildings, figures flickered. Besides Wu Shui, Pei Lin and the others, there were also some other Heaven's favorites. These people seemed to have a common purpose, and they were waiting quietly. In the Colosseum, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng reached the 5th level without a hitch. In a secret chamber, he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong. The two of them looked haggard. Magic City Mountain shall be destroyed. Seeing Qiu Yu's haggard face, Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a shocking murderous intent. Young Master. Lu Ming. Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiu Yue, are you all right? Lu Ming asked. I'm fine. Don't worry, young master. Qiu Yu shook her head and smiled. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He was relieved to see that Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were fine. Let's go, well charge out. Lu Ming said. Then, he rushed out with Qiu Yu and the rest. Outside, it was a complete mess. The demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged forward, while all evil and the demon capital guards set up a large formation to kill the demonic slaves and desolate beasts. The huge Colosseum was filled with blood and qi, making it look like hell on earth. That brat, it's that brat. He's trying to save someone and leave. Wan Xing was hiding behind evildoer and was scanning the area. He noticed Lu Ming and Qiu Yu the moment they came out. But then again, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body state. It would be difficult for him not to attract attention. Don't let that brat escape. Kill him. All evil roared and commanded the demonic city guards. Instantly, beams of terrifying divine light shot towards Lu Ming. Hide behind me. Lu Ming shouted and protected Qiu Yu and the others behind him. He waved his long spear and swept it toward the divine light. Boom, boom, boom. A series of rumbles sounded, and beams of divine light were sent flying by him. Let's go. Lu Ming controlled his divine energy and enveloped Qiu Yu and the other two with it. He took them and was about to rush in another direction. He planned to leave this place first and settle this score with Magic City Mountain. If you want to leave, stop him. Don't care about those fiend slaves. This kid is the main culprit. We must kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Following that, the great array formed by all evil and the demonic city guards changed its direction and blasted most of the divine light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the group's path was blocked. Let's go, let's. With that, many of the demonic slaves and wild beasts were free from the blockade. They broke out of the encirclement and flew towards the sky above the Colosseum. You want to leave? All of you stay here. At this time, a cold voice rang out. In the sky, a blood-red blade light suddenly appeared. At least dozens of demonic slaves were killed by the saber light. Hee hee hee. A sharp sneer was heard. Pairs of ghostly claws suddenly appeared in the sky and clawed down, killing dozens of demonic slaves. Then, two figures appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. Demon Lord! It's the Demon Lord! Damn it! Many of the demon slaves shouted in fear. The other two demon masters had arrived at Demon Capital Mountain. At the same time, a stream of light flew over from behind. The other Shanghai guards were also rushing over. Rush out. Let's rush out together. Otherwise, when those Shanghai guards arrive, we'll all die. A fiend slave roared. Kill. Kill them all. Charge. Many demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged into the sky. You're looking for death. The two demon masters shouted at the same time and attacked together. The blood-red blade light and the pitch-black ghostly claw reappeared in the void. The cultivation of the fiend master was too strong. He completely suppressed these desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Screams filled the air as large numbers of demonic slaves and desolate beasts, corpses fell to the ground. After a while, the demonic city guards arrived. The battle was one-sided, and it became a massacre. On the other side, Lu Ming's path was also blocked. Get lost! Lu Ming let out a long howl. His long spear grew to a few hundred meters long and swept out continuously. The divine lights were blasted away. However, the combined power of all evil and the 500 demonic city guards was truly astonishing. Lu Ming continued to attack, but he was still firmly held back. Chapter 2963 Attacking the City Lord's Mansion. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. 3 Apocalyptic Strikes. Star Explosion. Seeing that the other demon masters and demon city guards were rushing over, Lu Ming was a little anxious and used his strongest move. Lu Ming's body burst out with a dazzling spear's gleam. An incomparably huge spear's gleam soared into the sky like a pillar that held up the sky. Star Explosion, when cultivated to the highest level, was said to be able to blow up a planet. After casting this move, endless divine power in Lu Ming's body surged towards his hands as if it was free. The divine power in Lu Ming's body, the divine power of 10 divine flames, was sucked dry in an instant. This move consumed too much divine power. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the measure formula. The quantity formula glowed and a steady stream of divine power poured into Lu Ming's body. The divine power in Lu Ming's body became thick again and he was at his peak. As soon as this move was used, all evil's expression changed drastically as he felt a fatal crisis. Quick, quick, gather our strength. 1,000 evils roared. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Each of the guards emitted a brilliant light. They formed a formation, and it was as if there was an invisible thread connecting them together. Their powers were able to link up with each other. Boom. A huge beam of divine light was formed and blasted toward Lu Ming, clashing with the Star Explosion move. The entire Colosseum was shaking violently. Endless energy bombarded the seats, the stands, and the walls around the Colosseum. Even with the protection of the array, the Colosseum was unable to withstand the force. It continued to collapse and explode. In the next moment, the entire Colosseum collapsed and turned into ruins. Some of the fiend slaves and desolate beasts nearby were torn apart by the overflowing energy and died on the spot before they could even scream. Break, break. Lu Ming let out a long howl and held the spear with both hands. Divine energy continuously rushed into the long spear in his hands. The radiance of the spear became even more dazzling. When the radiance reached a certain level, it exploded. The spear radiance exploded with terrifying energy, directly destroying the divine light condensed by the great formation of Shanghai's defense. Boom! Waves of terrifying energy charged towards the formation formed by the Shanghai guards. Continuous screams rang out as cracks appeared on the bodies of some of the weaker guards. Then they were torn to pieces. In a short while, at least a few dozen Shanghai guards had died. The entire Magic City Guards formation had been pushed back thousands of meters. Such power! Wan Yi was trembling with fear. The power of Lu Ming's move was truly terrifying. Chapter 2964 Four Great Geniuses. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Wu Shui, Su Mu, and the others also rushed to the City Master's mansion. However, a powerful aura also burst out from the City Master's mansion. Boom! Boom! Figures rushed out one after another, forcing Wu Shui and the others to retreat. Devil Lord! Wu Shui's eyes focused on the figure in front of him. Including the ape-man from before, there were a total of 6 figures. Their auras were extremely thick, and their divine power erupted like a volcano. All 6 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 6 of the 9 great devil kings. In addition to the 3 great demon kings of the Colosseum, the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital were all present. As expected, you foreign heavens favorites don't have good intentions in coming to Shanghai. One of the demon masters said coldly. It's too late to know now. Wu Shui said gloomily. Too late? Hee, you want to act so atrociously in Shanghai? Today, all of you shall stay here. One of the demon masters said coldly, his voice filled with cold killing intent. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people rushed out of the city lord's mansion. All of them were Magic City Guards in iron armor, and there were nearly 5,000 of them. It was said that there were 8,000 Magic City Guards in Magic City, and almost all of them, except for the Colosseum, were present. The combined aura of the 6 great devil kings and nearly 5,000 demonic city guards was truly terrifying. Like the ocean waves, they surged towards Wu Shui and the others one after another, forcing them to retreat. It was obvious that the city lord's mansion of Shanghai had already made preparations. Everyone's here, very good. At this time, a cold voice suddenly rang out in the void. Then, a sword light suddenly descended from the sky and charged towards the group of Shanghai guards. This sword light was astonishingly fast, and it disappeared in a flash. "Not good, quickly retreat," one of the demon masters shouted. But it was too late. Blood splattered everywhere as the sword light flashed. At least 100 demonic city guards were killed. Their bodies were cut in half, and their souls were obliterated by the terrifying sword Qi. In the next moment, a black-robed young man appeared in the sky, standing with a sword in his hand. "This is 9th level celestial deity realm." A demon master cried out in alarm, his expression grave. Clearly, the black-robed youth was not an ordinary 9th level celestial deity, but a 9th level celestial deity who controlled divine-grade divine power. Back then, during the Great Battle in Demonic City, such a character did not appear at all. "Ha ha ha, the Demon King token, I want it." At this time, a loud laugh came from a building not far away. Then, a golden light flashed, and a burly figure appeared in the sky. His entire body was covered in golden divine light. This was also a young man whose cultivation had reached the 9th level celestial deity realm. "The Demon King's token is mine." A deep voice sounded. Another young man came from another direction. The aura that this person emitted was shockingly also 9th level celestial deity. The 6 demon kings' faces turned ugly. They didn't expect so many terrifying Heaven's favorites to enter Demonic City. During the Demonic City War, these Heaven's favorites didn't appear. This caused them to underestimate the strength of the Heaven's favorites from outside. However, Wu Shui and the others looked very calm. It was obvious that they had known about the existence of these Heaven's favorites. Clang! Clang! Pei Lin and the ape-man were still fighting, but Pei Lin was gradually losing. "Do it or else things will change," the young man who was covered in golden light said. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure turned into a golden light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. "Set up the formation." A demon king roared, summoning the demon capital guards to set up a large formation. However, at this moment, a black fog suddenly appeared in the sky above the city lord's mansion. The fog instantly enveloped the 5,000 demonic city guards and the 6 demon kings. "Ah! Ah!" Some of the Shanghai guards held onto their heads and screamed in pain. After a while, some of the Shanghai guards fell to the ground and stopped breathing. Even those with higher cultivation had pained expressions on their faces. "This mist can harm the soul. Leave this place." One of the demon masters roared as he charged out, wanting to leave this place. "Stay here." A cold voice was heard. The black-robed young man with a long sword in his hand charged toward the demon master. The demon master bellowed and launched an attack to block it. However, after a flash of sword light, the demon master retreated. A deep wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. The demon master's eyes were filled with shock. Although he was a half-step divine king, he was no match for the black-robed young man, especially when he was surrounded by the mist and his soul was injured. "Kill!" The black-robed youth coldly snorted as he continued to attack. He seemed to be unafraid of the mist. Senior brother has made his move. "Kill, kill." Wu Shui's face lit up with joy as she charged over as well. At the same time, the other young men also made their moves and charged at the Shanghai guards. These young men were clearly well prepared. They weren't afraid of the mist and could maintain their combat strength at their peak. As for the demonic city guards, their souls had been injured by the mist and their strength had been greatly reduced. They weren't a match at all. As soon as the two sides exchanged blows, a large number of Shanghai guards were killed. In less than a minute, over 1,000 Shanghai guards had fallen. "Ah!" An angry roar came from the ape demon master. At that moment, a bloodied young man appeared behind the ape demon master. His claws pierced through the ape demon master's heart, and with a squeeze, a terrifying power erupted from the ape demon master's body. The ape demon master screamed as he was killed. "Senior brother." The witch's blood and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm were overjoyed to see the blood-soaked young man. This blood-soaked youth was also a 9th-level celestial deity. The mist earlier was released by him. "Kill!" The blood-soaked youth charged at another demon master. Not long after, another demon master was killed by the young man who was covered in golden light. In an instant, only 4 of the 6 great demon kings remained. At this moment, The mist was everywhere. The demonic city guards were at a complete disadvantage. People were being killed at every moment. Quick, send a message to the Infernal King. Call the Demon King out. And NBSP kill. The Demon Masters shouted and transmitted messages to the Night Demon King. With their current strength, they were no longer able to stop the Foreign Heavens Pride experts. If this continued, they would all die. However, there was no news after they sent the message. The Night Demon King did not appear. What's going on? Damn it! A few Demon Masters shouted. I'll send you on your way. The Blood Bubble young man sneered. Now, there were only 4 Demon Masters left. As for the foreign prodigies, there were also 4 9th-level heavenly deities, 1 for each of them. Originally, these Demon Masters' strength was inferior to these 9th-level heavenly deity divine sons of Heaven's Pride. In addition, they were affected by the fog and became even weaker. They were simply not a match for them. Even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time. Let's die together. And NBSP, the remaining 4 Demon Kings were all going all out, burning their divine power and fighting with the 4 prodigies. Lu Ming's pupils contracted sharply. He felt a fatal crisis. However, he, Xueqi, and the others were surrounded by the formation and had no way to escape. They could only fight. Block it, I must block it. Lu Ming growled in his heart and unleashed his full power. Roar! Roar! A dragon's roar was heard, and the 7 9-clawed divine dragons rushed out first. Immediately after, 9 ice chains appeared. Boom! 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 The huge divine light formed a sword and slashed down. The 7 9-clawed divine dragons exploded one by one. Then, the 9 ice chains also exploded. However, this had more or less blocked some of the power of the combat sword. In the end, Lu Ming waved his long spear and blocked in front of him. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently when the combat sword hit the long spear. He could not even stand in the air. His body, which was hundreds of meters tall, fell down to the fighting ring below. The fighting ring of the Colosseum was made of special materials and was extremely hard. Even the strong chi from the previous battle did not break the fighting ring. However, this time, Lu Ming landed heavily on the fighting ring. The fighting ring rumbled violently and cracks appeared on it. Lu Ming's body bent and he almost knelt down. Block it! Lu Ming roared. He used all his divine power and divine Bodhis power to resist the attack and did not kneel down. However, the huge sword had a steady stream of power that blasted down. Lu Ming's body trembled as if he was carrying a majestic divine mountain. This kid. Evil and the others felt their hearts twitch as they gasped. They had already used their strongest move and wanted to kill Lu Ming in one move. They did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to withstand it. Continue, kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Then, the 3 demon masters and more than 2,500 demonic city guards circulated their divine power madly. The divine power gathered and gushed toward the combat sword, pressing down on Lu Ming. Boom! The fighting ring under Lu Ming's feet exploded with a loud bang and fragments flew everywhere. Lu Ming's body bent slightly, but he roared and resisted it. More blood flowed out of the wounds on his body. Young Master, Lu Ming, Xueqi, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were extremely anxious. They wanted to intervene, but with their cultivation, they couldn't do much. I can't go on like this. If this continues, I won't be able to hold on any longer. Lu Ming's mind was racing. If this continued, the 4 of them would die here if he couldn't hold on any longer. In fact, the consequences would be worse than death. Right now the only way is to break through. Lu Ming had an idea. Now there were only 2 ways. One of them was to burn his ancient god heart, and the other was to break through. However, after the ancient god's heart was burned, his ancient god body would be completely destroyed. The last time, it was because of the purple copper coffin that his heart of the ancient god recovered. However, that kind of good luck couldn't be there every time. Moreover, Bone wasn't with him this time. If he took the risk to open the purple copper coffin, he wouldn't even know how he died. Therefore, Lu Ming would not use this method unless he had no other choice. The other way was to break through. For example, the battle symbol art had a breakthrough to 5 times the combat power. However, It was clear that the breakthrough of the battle character formula required comprehension and accumulation. It was not easy to break through. The only thing that could be broken through was cultivation. Old Liang, how much energy have you refined from the star's core? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. I've given you all the energy I refined the last time. How much energy can I refine in such a short time? It's too little, not enough for you to break through. The quantity formula responded. Then transfer the energy of the star core to me directly. Lu Ming said. Directly transfer the energy of the star core to you? The energy of this kind of star core is extremely violent. Even a divine king would have to spend a lot of time to refine it before they can use it. You're just a heavenly god realm expert. If I give it to you, I'm afraid you'll die from overeating. The quantity formula said. There's no other way. We can only take a gamble now. Transfer energy to me, but control it well and not transfer too much. I can hold on. Lu Ming said to the measure word art with a determined look in his eyes. You're crazy, kid. Alright, let's go all out. I'll go all out with you. Kid, get ready. The quantity formula helplessly agreed. Come on. Lu Ming said. Buzz. The measure formula went berserk. A violent wave of energy rushed into Lu Ming's body from the measure formula. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. At this moment, Lu Ming's body turned red. Even the green armor on his skin turned fiery red. His body was like a balloon, swelling up. The blood on the wound spurted out like it was free. Whoa, old Liang. You're spitting out too much energy. Are you trying to stuff me to death? Lu Ming screamed in pain. You were the one who asked for it. I've already reminded you, the quantity formula said. Lu Ming was helpless. He could only clench his teeth and circulate the universe thousand Tao scripture frantically to absorb this energy. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's body rumbled as if a volcano was constantly erupting. His cultivation level was also rising rapidly. Peak 3rd level celestial deity. Then towards 4th level celestial deity, it launched an assault. Boom, boom. Lu Ming's body continued to rumble. With each rumble, Lu Ming's body trembled and more blood flowed out of his wounds. Lu Ming was bathed in blood and looked as if he would collapse at any moment. However, he managed to withstand the other party's attack. This kid is strange. Fight. Well, fight too. Dang. Evil roared. He did not know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that if Lu Ming did not die today, he would be the one to die. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness as the Shen power in his body started to burn. All evil burned his divine power, and his strength increased dramatically. The power of the swords formed by the formation also increased. Lu Ming's body trembled and he almost failed to block it. You two, burn your Shen power together and kill this kid. Evil looked at Dragon Cave and the other demon master. However, the Dragon Cave and the other demon master hesitated. Burning Shen power was very harmful to the body. Even if it was a normal person, burning Shen power would cause their vitality to be greatly damaged or their cultivation to fall. The half-step divine king realm was even more special. This realm was the realm of condensing the star core. The star core was about to be condensed, but not condensed. It was the most critical moment. If he burned his divine power at this time, his cultivation would fall back to the 9th level heavenly god realm if he made a mistake. He might not even have the chance to charge towards the god king realm in the future. It wasn't easy to cultivate to this level, so they wouldn't easily burn it. This kid can't hold on for much longer. Let's hold on a little longer and we'll be the ones to win. Dragon Cave said. He refused to burn his Shen power. You guys. Evildoer was helpless. He could only burn his divine power with all his might. He even threatened some of the Shanghai guards to burn their divine power to press down on Lu Ming. Soon. At this moment, Lu Ming could already sense the 4th level celestial deity barrier and was launching a violent attack. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. After more than a dozen attacks. Boom! A deafening explosion erupted from within Lu Ming's body. The 4th level celestial deity barrier was finally broken through by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had stepped into the 4th-level Heavenly God realm. After stepping into the 4th-level Heavenly God realm, the 10 divine flames in his dantian were even more vigorous. The divine power in his body was even more turbulent. Lu Ming's abilities had also improved. Break! Lu Ming roared. A violent force flowed along his arm and rushed out. Boom! The long spear vibrated crazily. In an instant, it vibrated hundreds of millions of times. In an instant, Lu Ming swept away the opponent's combat sword. Then, he led Qiu Yu and the rest to take a step forward and avoid the opponent's attack. The battle sword formed by the opponent's formation continued to slash down after being knocked away. It hit the fighting ring and split it in half. 3 apocalyptic strikes. Star explosion. Lu Ming took the opportunity to cast the strongest move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, Star Blast. All the divine energy in his body, including the energy from the star core that had not been refined completely, flowed out through Lu Ming's arms. All of his power was transformed into his most powerful move, Star Blast. Whoosh! A shocking spear radiance soared into the sky and charged towards the formation that Evil and the others had formed. Kill! Evil and the others roared as they activated the formation. Divine power gathered and once again formed a combat sword, which was then slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! Exploding star collided with his opponent's combat sword, creating a terrifying explosion. The energy formed from the collision spread in all directions. This attack was truly like a battle between 2 god kings. The shockwave that spread in all directions crushed the corpses of the fallen experts in the Colosseum into dust. Everything within 100,000 miles was razed to the ground. This was also because Magic City had been set up with formations everywhere. Otherwise, the destructive power would have been countless times more terrifying. Explode! At this moment, Lu Ming shouted coldly. The huge spear's gleam exploded. This was the correct way to activate the star explosion move. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2966 Backing. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Boom. The spear radiance exploded like a planet, forming a terrifying energy storm that swept towards Evil and the others. Bang. The swords formed by Evil's formation trembled violently and buzzed before exploding into countless shockwaves that were reflected back at Evil, Dragon Cave, and the others. Boom. 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 This energy was too powerful. As it rushed out, a large number of Shanghai guards didn't even have time to react before their bodies exploded and their souls scattered. At least 300 demonic city guards had died under this move, and the entire formation had been scattered. As soon as the formation was opened, the power of the 3 great demon kings and the demon capital guards was scattered. Lu Ming would not miss such an opportunity. Bang! He stomped on the ground and his body, which was a few hundred meters tall, shot up. The divine power that had been stored in the quantity formula surged into Lu Ming's body and was drawn out along his arms. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and swept out with his spear. The huge long spear was thousands of miles long and it enveloped a large number of Shanghai guards. Bang! Bang! One by one, the Shanghai guards exploded in the air like rotten tomatoes, blood splattering everywhere. This spear attack had killed at least 500 Magic City guards. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Dragon Cave and the other 2 demon masters roared in their hearts, unable to remain calm. At this moment, apart from all evil, the other 2 demon masters were filled with regret. If they had known that Lu Ming was so terrifying, they would have listened to all evil and burned their divine power to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. However, it was too late to regret now. Kill! Lu Ming fixed his eyes on the 3 demon masters. He thrust his long spear at the demon master of the Dragon Cave, who was the closest to him. The spear light was like a shooting star, instantly approaching the demon lord of the Dragon Cave. Not good. The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was shocked. He quickly waved his hands and used his strongest move to block. However, when Lu Ming was a 3rd-tier celestial god, his strength was already enough to suppress a half-step divine king demon master. Now that he had broken through to the 4th-tier celestial god realm, his combat strength was even more overwhelming. Boom! The spear radiance pierced through the attack of the demon lord of the Dragon Cave and continued to stab toward him. The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was pierced by the spear light, leaving a bloody hole. The Dragon Cave's demon lord screamed as his body was sent flying. He had been severely injured. Die! Lu Ming did not give the demon lord of the Dragon Cave any chance. He stepped forward and aimed his long spear at the demon lord's head. The demon master of the Dragon Cave was already severely injured. How could he dodge? With a scream, his head was smashed by Lu Ming and he died on the spot. A demon master was killed just like that. In the surroundings, many of the demon city guards were almost scared to death. They didn't have the slightest bit of battle intent as they turned around and ran, not daring to stay in the slightest. Go, quickly go! Not to mention the demonic city guards, even Wan Yi was extremely terrified. He brought Wan Xing and fled in a frenzy. The other demon master also fled in another direction. Don't even think about leaving. With a cold shout, a sword light rushed out of the gravel below and slashed at the escaping demon master. I didn't expect that there would be such a heaven's favorite who was captured and brought to the spirit beast arena. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The one who made a move was a young man with peak 7th level celestial deity cultivation. But his combat strength was very shocking, and he actually held back that demon master. Such strength was already not weaker than Pei Lin. Obviously, for some unknown reason, this young man had also been captured by the other party and brought to the animal arena. Magic City Mountain was really audacious. They dared to do anything. They even dared to capture such a Heaven's Pride expert. Did they rely on their backer? Lu Ming's mind was racing, but his figure chased after evil at an extremely fast speed. He had to kill Wan Xing and Wan Yi. Damn it, and NBS Padai. All evil was alarmed and madly burned his divine power to fly forward. However, Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique, and it was as if he had transformed into a Kuan Peng. His speed was even faster than evil's, and the distance between the two of them was rapidly closing. Whoosh! When he was within a certain distance, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear light burst out and rushed towards All Evil at high speed. All Evil had no choice but to stop and turn around to block. Evil was burning his divine power and his combat strength was higher than usual. He blocked Lu Ming's attack, but his body was also pushed back. His face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Your Shen power should be almost burnt out. Lu Ming stepped forward and looked down on All Evil and All Good. Compared to Lu Ming's body that was a few hundred meters tall, All Evil and Wan Xing were like ants. Father, what should we do? What do we do? Wan Xing was almost scared to death. His entire body was trembling, and his face was extremely pale. He was used to being tyrannical in the Colosseum and even in the demon capital. Not many people dared to go against him because of his evil reputation. He had always had a high and mighty appearance. When had he ever faced such a situation? At this moment, he was completely flustered and lost. Lu Ming, there's something that you probably don't know. My Magic City Mountain has a backer in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He's a real big shot. If you kill us, the big shot of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion won't let you off. Evil said coldly. The backer behind Magic City Mountain? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. As long as he knew who the backer behind Magic City Mountain was, it was possible to find out who the traitor of 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion was. Tell me, who is the backer of your Magic City Mountain? Or which force is it? Lu Ming asked coldly. Do you want to know who our backer is? You just need to know that we have a backer behind us. A backer that you can't afford to offend. Otherwise, how could a treasure like the Demon Knight Spring have survived until now? Evil sneered and threatened Lu Ming. You don't want to tell me? Then I'll search for it myself. Lu Ming was not afraid of threats. After he finished speaking, he waved his long spear and swept it towards Evil. All Evil was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming would not be threatened at all. He could only resist with all his might. However, he had been burning his divine power for so long and his divine power was severely depleted. He had only exchanged a few blows with Lu Ming before his divine power was completely depleted. Bang! Lu Ming's spear struck Evil's body. The lower half of Evil's body exploded, leaving only the upper half floating in the air, its aura dispirited. Then, Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed at the void. A suction force was produced and Wan Xing was caught in his hand. In Lu Ming's hands, Wan Xing was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. He could not put up any resistance and could only scream in pain. Don't kill me. Father, father, save me, save me. I don't want to die. Wan Xing's face was covered in snot and tears. He was so scared that he even peed himself. When he killed others, he didn't even blink. He was even very excited. When it was his turn, he was more afraid than anyone else. Don't kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Tell me who's the backer of Magic City Mountain, and I'll consider letting him go. Lu Ming said. Chapter 2967 9 Great Demon Kings. All annihilated. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Lu Ming threatened all evil, wanting him to tell him who was the backer behind Magic City Mountain. I don't know. I don't know who's the backer behind Magic City Mountain. I only know that there's a backer behind Magic City Mountain. 1,000 evils roared. You still dare to trick me? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He exerted force in his palm. Wan Xing screamed in pain as his body exploded continuously. I really don't know. I'm going to kill you. All evil roared angrily and mustered all its remaining strength to charge at Lu Ming. I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming said coldly. He exerted force in his palm and Wan Xing exploded completely, his soul scattered. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the moon-splitting move. A crescent-shaped spear ray flashed and disappeared. When the spear's radiance disappeared, all evil disappeared as well. Lu Ming did not show any mercy to people like Wan Xing who were evil. The father and son duo had committed all sorts of evil deeds. They controlled the Colosseum and committed all sorts of crimes. In all these years, countless people had died at their hands. Lu Ming did not search all evil's soul as there was no need to. He threatened him with Wan Xing. Since the other party said that he did not know, he should really not know. With a wave of his hand, he kept the loathsome storage ring. Then his figure flashed, and he returned to the Spirit Beast Arena. At this moment, almost all the demonic city guards in the Colosseum had run away. Only that young man was still fighting with another demon master. Although the demon master had the upper hand, the young man was fighting with no regard for his life. He kept the demon master busy and didn't care even if he was injured. At that moment, the demon master was almost scared to death when he saw Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming charged over directly. With Lu Ming's participation, the demon master's fate was sealed. It did not take long for him to be killed by Lu Ming. This brother, thank you for saving me this time. The young man cupped his fists at Lu Ming, his face full of gratitude. You're welcome, it was just a passing move. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, he kept the demon master's storage ring. You're also a heaven's favorite from the outside world, right? I'm really curious, why are there so many people here this time? Lu Ming looked at the young man. What are you saying? We came to Magic City Mountain this time to complete a mission. The young man said. Mission. Lu Ming was stunned. This was indeed unexpected. Don't tell me you're here to complete the mission from the Star Sky Battalion? The Universal Camp is starting to recruit new students again? At this time, Wu Zifeng suddenly spoke. Previously, Lu Ming had brought Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong with him. The three of them were right beside him. You know. The young man was stunned and looked at Wu Zifeng. This one is Wu Zifeng. Wu Zifeng cupped his fists. So you're a disciple of the Wu family. No wonder. Im Yang Shi. You're right, this is indeed a mission given to us by the Universal Camp. If you want to join the Universal Camp, you have to go through an assessment. This time, our assessment is to obtain the Demon Lord's token and the Demon King's token of the Demon Capital Mountain. Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King. They all have a token that symbolizes their identity. Only by obtaining the Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King token can one join the Universal Camp. The young man explained. The Universal Camp? Lu Ming was confused. Brother Lu, the Universal Camp is the gathering place for the paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion's army. Almost all of the strongest paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion are gathered in the Universal Camp. Wu Zifeng explained. Oh, I see. Is the cultivation environment in the Star Sky Camp that good? There are so many paragons in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, and they're all gathered there? Lu Ming was curious. The cultivation environment is one thing. The main thing is that only by joining the universal camp can one be recommended to cultivate in the core holy cultivation ground of the Great Void Holy Dynasty. If one wants to rise in the Great Void Holy Dynasty and take up a high position, this is something that cannot be avoided. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming understood. This was a little like the imperial examination in the mortal world. One had to take one step at a time according to the rules and procedures before one could ascend to a high position. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the city lord's residence. He finally knew why these elites had suddenly attacked the city lord's mansion. It was because of the Demon Lord and Demon King tokens. This time, Lu Ming made the first move. He was like a fuse that ignited the battle. In fact, even if he did not make a move, those prodigies would find an opportunity to make a move. You guys stay here, I'll go take a look. After Lu Ming finished speaking, his body shrank and returned to his normal form. As his cultivation level increased, his divine body became stronger and stronger. The time he could take to transform into an ancient god body also became longer. This was the benefit of having abundant physical strength. Young master, be careful. Xueqi reminded. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and flew in the direction of the city lord's residence. Xueqi and the others didn't follow. Neither did Yang Shi. He had been injured and needed time to heal. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived near the city master's residence. However, he didn't make a move. Instead, he found a hidden place nearby and hid. Then, he took out a divine pill and swallowed it. This kind of divine pill could recover one's strength. Moreover, Lu Ming was injured previously and needed time to recuperate. There might be a huge battle to fight later on. This matter was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. In this case, it was almost impossible to protect Magic City Mountain, and it would be destroyed. If Lu Ming wanted to find out which force the Dark Ice Race and the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion were colluding with, he could only rely on the Dark Knight Devil King. Lu Ming was waiting for the Night Demon King to appear. In the sky above the City Lord's mansion, the battle was unusually brutal. Demonic city guards were constantly killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. The City Lord's mansion was covered with the corpses of the Shanghai guards. The remaining 4 demon masters were also suppressed by the 4 9th-level celestial deities and were in a precarious situation. I'll fight it out with you guys. Die! A demon master roared angrily. The divine power in his body started to burn as he fought fiercely with the 9th-level celestial deity. At the same time, the other 3 demon masters also gritted their teeth and burned their divine power to charge forward with all their might, trying to escape. You want to escape? Dream on! The 4 9th-level heavenly deity Heaven's favorites shouted coldly. They didn't seek to gain any merits, but they wanted to avoid any mistakes. They changed their strategy and only held the other party back tightly, no longer taking the initiative to attack. There was a time limit to burning Shen power. Soon, their Shen power would be used up and they would be at their mercy. Sure enough, not long after, the auras of the 4 demon masters rapidly declined. Buzz! The sound of the sword was deafening. The black-robed young man slashed his sword across the sky and killed a demon master. Die! The young man, who was covered in golden light, killed a demon master with one palm. Wu Shui's senior brother, the blood-robed young man, had also killed a demon master. Demon King! Demon King! The last demon master roared madly, his face full of unwillingness. However, before he could finish his words, he was also killed. At this point, the 9 great demon masters of Demonic City were all exterminated. And NBSP, the 4 heavens favorites and the Night Demon King were engaged in an intense battle. The City Lord Mansion was in an uproar, and all sorts of divine light flew around. In the surroundings, the battle between the other heavens favorites and the Shanghai guards had already stopped. The remaining Shanghai guards who had not died had long since escaped. The elites didn't pursue. Their targets were the 9 demon masters and the Night Demon King. Killing the demonic city guards was useless. During this process, Lu Ming did not make a move. How could he stupidly rush out when it was such a good opportunity to sit on the mountain and watch the tiger's head and reap the benefits? He focused on recovering and healing his injuries. The wounds on his body had basically healed, and his physical strength had also recovered by 60 to 70%. He was waiting for an opportunity to strike. Let's attack too. On the side, Pei Lin, Wu Shui, and a few other stronger Heaven's favorites also joined the battle. Under the influence of the heirloom, their strength was enough to pose a threat to the Night Demon Lord. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had been fighting for a few minutes. Night Demon King was gradually losing and was at a disadvantage. A sword light flashed, and a sword wound appeared on the Night Demon King's body, blood flowing out. Bang! Then the young man covered in golden light hit the Night Demon King with his palm, making the Night Demon King stagger and retreat. Blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. Seeing that the Night Demon Lord was injured, the paragons were even more excited. They used all kinds of techniques, divine skills, and secret skills, which broadened Lu Ming's horizons. Lu Ming realized that the secret skills controlled by the paragons of the 9 ultimate Heavenly King Mansion were shockingly powerful. Some of them were even close to his divine dragon materialization technique. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had not cultivated the divine dragon materialization technique to major success. He had obtained the divine dragon materialization art from a legacy site. The more he cultivated, the more unfathomable he felt. If he could cultivate hundreds or thousands of divine dragons in the future, Lu Ming was looking forward to the power. Chapter 2979 Killing the Demon King. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. The Night Demon Lord roared again and again, trying its best to resist. The two sides exchanged another 100 moves. More and more wounds appeared on the Night Demon King's body. With the defense and vitality of a King God Realm warrior, he could resist the attack for now. However, if this continued, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. He was really aggrieved. He had the strength, but he couldn't use it. The Dark Night Demon King crazily activated his star core, but the 3 secret treasures emitted strange fluctuations and confined his star core. He tried his best, but he could only exert 50 to 60% of its power. A sword light slashed at Night Demon King's neck. He dodged quickly, but it still left a sword wound on his cheek. Damn it, damn it. And NBSP the Night Demon King roared. He had been continuously injured and had gone crazy. His eyes were filled with savagery. If you want me to die, then we'll die together. It's worth it to drag you Heaven's Pride experts down with me. And NBSP die. The Night Demon King roared, and his aura suddenly became violent. Then, a ball of light shot out from his dantian. This ball of light was dazzling and the starlight was resplendent. Then, a crystal the size of a dragon's eye appeared. As soon as the crystal appeared, it emitted a terrifying fluctuation. It's a star core. A young man exclaimed. In the distance, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could recognize that the crystal was the star core. It was the star core condensed by the Night Demon Lord when he broke through to the Divine King realm. It was different from the star core that Lu Ming had. The star core that Lu Ming had obtained was many times stronger than this one in terms of size, mass, and energy fluctuations. Although it couldn't be compared to a star core, the fluctuations emitted by the star core were extremely terrifying. Buzz! As soon as the star core appeared, it began to shake slightly. Then, a terrifying energy fluctuation spread out from the star core, as if it was going to break through the suppression of the 3 secret treasures. Not good. He's going to self-destruct his star core. Quickly retreat. A few of the young Heaven's favorites looked terrified as they retreated frantically. Go to hell. And NBSP the Night Demon King roared with a malevolent expression. After his roar, the star core cracked and split into 2. Half of it flew into the Night Demon King's dantian, while the other half exploded with a boom. The Night Demon King didn't really want to completely self-destruct his star core. He actually split it into half, only half. This way, he could at least preserve some of his cultivation. The self-destruction of a star core, even if it was only half of it, would still be terrifyingly powerful. It was as if a planet had exploded. A mushroom cloud rose, and the terrifying energy spread in all directions. The first to bear the brunt were the 3 secret treasures. And NBSP Wang Wang Wang. The 3 secret treasures started to shake violently. Then, cracks appeared on them. Following that, more and more cracks appeared before they exploded. The 3 secret treasures exploded one after another, and the fluctuations disappeared. The remaining energy made the heaven's favorites spit out blood. Fortunately, they had reacted early and retreated early. Furthermore, the Night Demon King had only self-destructed half of his star core. Although they were injured, they were not seriously injured. The Night Demon Lord himself also vomited blood. He had self-destructed half of his star core, and he had also suffered heavy injuries, greatly damaging his vitality. And NBSP at this moment, the Night Demon King couldn't care about his injuries anymore. He ran for his life and randomly chose a direction. This direction happened to be where Lu Ming was hiding. Chase! The heaven's favorites let out a sigh of relief and started to chase after the Night Demon King. Buzz! The Night Demon Lord was very fast. Very soon, he was not far from Lu Ming. He really delivered himself to my door. Lu Ming pursed his lips and took out a long spear. With a flick of his hand, the long spear flew out like lightning and headed straight for the face of the Night Demon Lord. The Night Demon King was shocked and waved his hand to slap the spear away, but he also stopped. At this moment, Lu Ming had already rushed out. Buzz! Lu Ming soared into the sky and charged toward the Night Demon Lord. As he rushed out, his body swelled rapidly and he turned into a green-armored ancient god that was hundreds of meters tall. Before he even arrived, the 9 ice chains had already rushed out. It's you, Lu Ming. Get lost. When the Night Demon Lord saw Lu Ming, he roared and struck out with his palm. The palm force that could topple mountains and overturn the seas broke the 9 ice chains. However, Lu Ming's follow-up attack had arrived. Moon slaying. Lu Ming held the spear with both hands and struck down. The huge spear's gleam pressed down on the Night Demon Lord. Boom! The spear radiance collided with the Night Demon King's attack. The Night Demon King's body trembled, and his palm almost exploded. Blood spurted out of his mouth. The Night Demon Lord had self-destructed half of his star core and suffered a great loss of vitality. He had less than 10% of his strength left. As for Lu Ming, after he reached the 4th level celestial deity realm, his combat strength had already completely surpassed the current Night Demon Lord. As soon as the two of them exchanged blows, Night Demon King was severely injured. Dang! Starburst! Lu Ming took the opportunity to use his strongest move. A spear light suddenly burst out and stabbed toward Night Demon King. And NBSP die. Chapter 2970 Universal Camp. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. You want to kill me with your strength? You're the one who will die today. Lu Ming sneered and charged at the blood-robed young man with his spear. However, at this moment, the other young heaven's favorites made their move. All sorts of attacks were directed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He shook his long spear and shot out more than a dozen spear lights at the paragons. However, Lu Ming had now broken through to the 4th level celestial deity realm and his strength was at its peak. As for the blood-robed youth and the rest, they had suffered some injuries from the Night Demon King's self-destruction of half of its star core. Therefore, even if they joined forces, they were not Lu Ming's match. The spear radiance was dazzling and sharp. It pierced through the attacks of the blood-robed youth and the others. The blood-robed youth and the others trembled and retreated. You want to kill me with your strength? A mocking voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. He held his spear and charged forward. The long spear shook and a huge spear ray swept out. The blood-robed young man and the others looked ghastly. They shouted angrily and each of them used their unique skills. However, they were not Lu Ming's match and were forced to retreat. Damn it! How can this kid's strength be so shocking? The blood-robed youth and the others roared in their hearts. They were the proud children of heaven from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion, but they had never seen Lu Ming before. Where did Lu Ming come from? Bang! Lu Ming continued to step forward with a violent aura. The expressions of the blood-robed youth and company changed again, and they couldn't help but retreat. Lu Ming advanced while they retreated. They no longer had the courage to fight. In their current situation, even if they fought again, they would still be defeated. Retreat! In the end, the blood-robed young man and the rest were unwilling to give up. They used their movement techniques and drifted backward, distancing themselves from Lu Ming. Cowards! You still want my storage ring? Get lost! Lu Ming shouted coldly. The blood-robed youth's expression was extremely unsightly. "Brat, I'll remember what happened today." The blood-robed young man left these words coldly and left in a flash. The other young geniuses also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. They had no choice but to leave. Not long after, all the Heaven's favorites here had left. "Let's search this place," Lu Ming said to Xueqi and the rest as his body shrunk. After that, they rushed into the city lord's mansion and started searching to see if they could find any clues. Originally, the majestic and grand city lord's mansion had already collapsed. It was in shambles and there was not a single person. Lu Ming and the rest were shuttling back and forth in the dilapidated city lord's mansion to see if they could find any clues about the Dark Ice Race and the 9 absolute heavenly kings' mansion. They didn't notice that a person had appeared not far from the city lord's mansion. This person was the daughter of the Night Devil King, Night Rose. In the previous battle, Night Rose had not appeared. Night Rose looked at Lu Ming and the rest who were in the distance. Her eyes were filled with hatred, greed, and other complicated emotions. Lu Ming, sooner or later, I will swallow you. He. A cold sneer came out of Night Rose's mouth. With an evil light in her eyes, she disappeared in a flash. Just as the Night Rose disappeared, 2 black shadows appeared out of thin air. These 2 black figures were wrapped in black robes, and their faces could not be seen clearly. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen under the black robes. "What do we do?" "The Dark Knight storage ring is in that kid's hands," one of them said. "With our strength, we're not this kid's match at all," the other person said. "However, the Night Demon King's storage ring must not fall into the hands of outsiders. We must get it," the first person said. "The plan now is to secretly keep an eye on them, then send back a message and ask the master to send experts to kill them," the person behind said. "All right, that's the only way," the first person said. After he finished speaking, the 2 of them disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming and the others were completely unaware that they were being watched. They had searched the city lord mansion several times and found many treasures. However, they did not find any clues about the Dark Ice Race colluding with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion or the treasures of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. "I wonder if there are any clues in the Night Demon Lord's storage ring?" Lu Ming pondered in his heart. After searching for 2 more rounds, there were still no clues. Lu Ming, Xueqi, and the rest left the place. Not long after, they found a hidden place. Lu Ming took out the Night Demon Lord's storage ring and checked it. Lu Ming was stunned when he took a look. And NBSP, the Night Demon King, controlled Mo Yechuan and had accumulated a lot of wealth over the years. In the storage ring, there were all kinds of precious divine pills, divine medicines, and divine materials. There were also divine weapons of all levels, and there were even a few supreme-grade divine weapons. As for divine crystals, there were countless of them. In addition, Lu Ming also found a divine-grade wondrous technique. This divine-grade technique could be cultivated to divine-grade divine power when cultivated to its peak. However, the Night Demon King clearly had not cultivated to the highest realm, or his strength would be even stronger. Lu Ming smiled. Of course, he had to cultivate this divine art. In addition, Lu Ming also discovered a large number of Demon Night Springs. It weighed more than 500 jin. Good lord, I guess all the Demon Night Spring in the entire Demon Capital Mountain is here. No wonder I couldn't find it before. Lu Ming muttered. Then, he took out 20 caddies of Demon Night Spring and gave them to Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, giving them 10 caddies each. 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring was enough for them to use for a long time. The 2 of them were naturally ecstatic as they kept it. Lu Ming did not give it to Xueqi. He would give her however much she wanted to use. There was no need to give it to her on purpose. To Lu Ming's disappointment, he did not find any clues about the treasures of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion in the Night Demon King's storage ring. Did the Night Demon King not leave any clues? At the thought of this, Lu Ming was a little disappointed. Then, he checked the storage rings of the Demon Masters but did not find any clues. However, a few tokens appeared in his hand. A total of 4 pieces. A Demon King token and 3 Demon Master tokens were indeed what Wu Shui and the others had come here for. The Demon King's token, the Demon Master's token. As long as you have this, you can join the Universal Camp. Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of fiery light. Did we just come out of nowhere? You can also join the universal camp? Lu Ming asked curiously. Yes, as long as one's age doesn't exceed the limit and their cultivation is above heavenly god. As long as they have the Demon King and Demon King's token, they can enter the universal camp. Wu Zifeng said. After that, Wu Zifeng muttered to himself for a moment and then continued. Brother Lu, if you want to investigate the treasure of the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion, why don't you join the universal camp first? After all, the universal camp and the guards of the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion are very close. You might be able to get some clues. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Spectacular, please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Alright, then I'll join the universal camp first. Lu Ming nodded and made his decision. Originally, the purpose of his trip was to go to the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. He came to Magic City Mountain only to check it out first. If he didn't find any clues, he would go to the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion to investigate. Alright, let's go, Wu Zifeng said. Immediately, the 4 of them left Magic City Mountain. After a long journey, they arrived at the core of Xueqi star field. Then, they took the interstar field teleportation formation and headed towards the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Xueqi star field was still a long distance away from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Even if they were to travel in a straight line, they were still more than 10 star fields away. How long was this distance? They used nearly a year just to travel. Finally, they arrived at the territory near the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Then, they boarded the Starry Sky battleship and flew towards the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Gradually, a huge galaxy appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest in the universe. Looking at the galaxy, Lu Ming and Xueqi were stunned. This galaxy actually had 3 stars. Most galaxies were fixed stars. With a star as the core, the other planets would rotate around the star and form a solar system. However, this galaxy had 3 stars. Huge planets were revolving around the 3 stars in a strange orbit. Lu Ming took a glance. There were at least 30 planets revolving around the 3 stars. As the distance between them shortened, a scene that shocked Lu Ming even more appeared. At the periphery of the entire galaxy, the planets were shining with all kinds of light. At the same time, there were many huge objects patrolling around the galaxy. These huge objects gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's faces were calm, clearly already used to it. These huge objects are all war machines. They are extremely terrifying and can monitor the space around this galaxy. Once they discover an enemy invasion, they will launch a thunderous counterattack. It is said that even peak divine king existences will be killed. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming gasped in shock. To be able to kill a peak god king, this level of power was truly shocking. Any one of them would be able to crush the Qin Heaven starfield. Let's go in. Well, go to that planet first. Wu Zifeng pointed to a fiery red planet at the outermost part of the galaxy. Lu Ming steered the Starry Sky warship and flew towards the fiery red planet. Who is it? With a cold shout, a team of strong men in fiery red armor appeared on the periphery of the planet, blocking Lu Ming and the rest's path. The aura that he exuded made Lu Ming and the rest fearful. Wu Zifeng told him that there were a total of 8 openings on the entire planet, which were 8 gates, distributed in 8 directions of the planet. Each gate was guarded by a large number of experts. With such tight defense, there's actually still someone who can steal a precious treasure from the 9 absolute heavenly king manor. Hee. Lu Ming sneered. At this point, Lu Ming understood even more. If there was no one in the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion cooperating, it was impossible for outsiders to steal the treasure. There was definitely someone working with them. They flew towards the nearest gate. There were a large number of experts guarding the gate. They were all wearing battle armor and had a shocking aura. God King, they're all God Kings. Lu Ming could sense a terrifying aura from these people. It was the aura of a God King. These guards were actually all God Kings. Lu Ming and Xueqi left behind a trace of life aura here before they were able to enter the door. As soon as he entered the door, Lu Ming felt a strong divine aura blowing in his face. What a dense divine qi. Lu Ming took a deep breath, feeling refreshed. Cultivating here would definitely be much faster than cultivating outside. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Wu clan's residence, Wu Zifeng said and flew forward first. Lu Ming and the few of them followed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. They took out some fine wine and chatted as they drank. Lu Ming had a better understanding of the situation in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. After 3 rounds of wine, Wu Zifeng and the others took their leave. For the next few days, Lu Ming and Xueqi stayed at the Wu residence. They did not know that 2 black-robed men were pacing back and forth in the distance. What do we do? They've entered the Wu residence. The Wu family was extremely powerful. Since Lu Ming and the rest had entered the Wu family, they could do nothing about it. They can't possibly stay in the Wu family forever. They've obtained the Devil King and Devil Lord's tokens, so they'll most likely join the Universal Camp. Well, make the necessary preparations on the way to the Universal Camp and kill them in one fell swoop, the other black-robed man said coldly. The 2 of them observed for a while more before they left in a flash. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lu Ming was cultivating that day. These days, he had been cultivating the Saint-grade divine skill that he had obtained from the Night Demon King. The last time on Magic City Mountain, Lu Ming had forcefully tried to break through to the 4th-level Celestial Deity Realm, causing his foundation to be unstable. In the following period of time, it would be impossible for Lu Ming to break through. He could only polish his foundation first. Only when his foundation was stable could he continue to break through to the next realm. While he was polishing his foundation, Lu Ming could cultivate his new divine technique. At this moment, Lu Ming's wrist emitted a series of wonderful fluctuations. This fluctuation came from Xueqi. Xueqi had turned into a bangle and was wearing it on Lu Ming's wrist. It had been in deep sleep for hundreds of years and there was no movement. Now there was finally movement. Lu Ming was overjoyed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible.